good day to you. My name's Dave Jones, and today I just want to talk about sleep. There's lots of things that I can talk about with sleep, problems with sleep that people have. It can be problems getting to sleep, it can be problems with too much sleep, it can be problems sleeping at the wrong times. But today I just want to talk about problems actually getting to sleep or sleeping. If we were to look in the Bible, in the book of Psalms, we can see that God promises sleep. He says this in Psalm 127, verse 2. It is vain for you to rise up early, to sit up late, to eat the bread of sorrows, for so he gives his beloved sleep. So he gives his beloved sleep. So we have a promise that God gives us sleep. I hear you say, well, Dave, the only problem with that is I'm not beloved. Well, you are, okay? So whether you know God or not, whether you've become a Christian yet or not, God does love you. Paul wrote this in his letter to the book of Romans in the New Testament of the Bible. Romans 5 verse 8 says, but God demonstrates his love toward us, and that while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. So you are loved. So you are beloved. So what happens? So why can people not sleep? So first of all, let's talk about the practical stuff, okay? So there's many reasons why people can't sleep. Sometimes they just drink too much caffeinated drinks. So coffees or Coca-Cola or, drinks with caffeine in before they go into bed. Sometimes there can be reasons that they've been working very late, so reading emails, that sort of stuff, or you're just worried. There's a lot of worry in the world, isn't there? And in fact, so before, trying to get to sleep, we need to deal with some of these practical things. So, before going to bed, just make sure you've not been drinking caffeinated drinks or reading worrying things on the newspaper and stuff like that. But also, for the believer, we can also read this promise, which is in the New Testament. And Peter wrote this in 1 Peter. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he cares for you. And the sense in the Greek is it's literally to throw your care upon him, to throw your care upon him. And just imagine that, can't you? You've got this pile of care and worry. I don't know about stuff that's going on in the world or whatever, and before you try going to sleep that night, just pray and imagine yourself casting all this care upon him, for he cares for you. So let's just look at an example of somebody in the Bible who was able to sleep in quite desperate circumstances, and it's in the book of Acts, in Acts chapter 12. Now, just to set some context here, Jesus has risen from the dead, he's ascended into heaven. The early church is, the disciples are suffering persecution, people are being thrown into prison, and we find at this point in time that Peter is also being cast into prison. And reading Acts chapter 12, verses 5 and 6 from the New King James Version of the Bible. Peter was therefore kept in prison, but constant prayer was offered to God for him by the church. When Herod was about to bring him out that night, Peter was sleeping, bound with 2 chains between 2 soldiers, and the guards before the door were keeping the prison. So, astonishing situation, okay? So Peter, one of the leaders of the church, he's in prison, he's chained to these guards, and he's fast asleep, okay? He doesn't know whether he's going to live or die tomorrow. He has no idea, and yet he is fast asleep. Can you imagine? It gets better, right? It gets better. Reading on in verse 7 of chapter 12. Now behold, an angel of the Lord stood by him, and a light shone in the prison. And he struck Peter on the side and raised him up, saying, Arise quickly, and his chains fell off his hands. So the brightness of the angel appearing in this cell was not sufficient to wake Peter from his slumber, from his sleep. The angel actually had to strike Peter on the side. And this was not just a tap, this was not just a gentle shake. Okay, the word in the original languages in the Greek, well, let me put it this way. When Stephen was given his testimony before the council earlier on in the book of Acts, he's talking about Moses striking an Egyptian guard and killing him. And the Greek word that Stephen uses is the same Greek word here. So this angel hit Peter very, very hard on the side to wake him up. So he was that fast asleep. Now, you know, if God will do it for Peter, he'll do it for you. Okay? There's a tremendous amount of stuff going on in the world that can bring an incredible amount of fear. And yet Peter didn't know whether he was going to live or die the next day. Okay, and for most of us, not everybody, but for most of us, we're not talking life or death the next day. And God promises sleep. So just let me talk about something that happened to me. So not on the same scale as Peter, you understand, but just something that's more likely for many people watching this. I used to travel a lot on business. And one time I was staying in this hotel, and I was on the top floor of the hotel, and all the air conditioning equipment was on the roof. And I used to be quite a light sleeper. And my first night in this hotel, I didn't sleep a wink. It didn't feel like I slept a wink, okay, with the noise of the air conditioning equipment. Now, a lot of people would have just gone down to reception and said, can I have a room on a lower floor? But I'm not a very confrontational kind of person. And I've been reading a book of Acts, and I was just challenged by Peter's experience. So the second night I was in this hotel, I just said to the Lord, Lord, if you can do it for Peter, you can do it for me. So I would just ask you right now that I can have a really good night's sleep. I tell you, I slept like a baby, right? So try it, try it. Let me know how it goes. Just, let me know, put your experiences in the comments, good or bad, in fairness, okay? So that other people can learn as well. So just summarizing then, just obvious stuff, okay? Don't read work emails, don't drink caffeinated drinks. Try and give yourself a few hours or so, calming down before you go to bed. Cast all your cares on him, for he cares for you. Ask the Lord to help you sleep. Just make that request according to Psalm 127 verse 2. Lord, your word says that you give to your beloved sleep. I am your beloved. Please help me sleep. And then go to pray. Okay? Don't look at social media. Just try and relax and sleep. Okay? It might take you. Some people go to sleep very quickly. Some people, it takes them a while. Okay, it might be half an hour or an hour for some people. But you'll go to sleep, and your sleep will be sweet. And as I say, let me know how it went. Okay, so thanks again. You know how to like or subscribe, and see you in the next video. Bye for now.